Hello friends, Mark Holmes here with my buddy CowboyJobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report, because without you guys, this just wouldn't work. You know, Dak Prescott, he's my boy. No, he's my man. You know, I believe in the guy. I believe he has the tools, the skills, and everything else. But he's only a second-year quarterback. You know, but you look at that game that we needed, and he looked a little bit lost out there, had some bad passes, had some things that weren't his fault that happened. But, you know, he's not like a veteran like Tony Romo. You know, there's so many people out there that said that Dak Prescott just doesn't have it. He's not the guy. He can't read defenses and things. We need Tony Romo because Tony Romo's a veteran.
3 minutes left. Pressure is on. Loaded and intercepted by Rob Jackson, who's made some big plays this season intended for DeMarco Murray and picked off by Jackson.
Tony Romo simply fooled. He thinks that Jackson is coming on the blitz. Perry Riley was in his face. He just got tricked. Jackson on the outside took 2 steps forward and then fell underneath that ball. And for Tony Romo, it's not over, but that's not good.
Yeah. What you guys have to realize, it's deja vu. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to something that we haven't done in a while, but I feel the need because we've got some people out there that are just literally coming out of the woodwork. And this is not to diss anybody, but we're going to go back to the dumbass comments of the day. And we actually have 2 of them from 2 different people. I don't want to sound like a Dak hater and a Romo homo, but Tony Romo, other than playoff wins, I think actually we can just stop right there. Other than playoff wins, but we won't. Has better all-time stats than any other quarterback in Cowboy history. And if Bill Parcells had stuck around, he would have had a Super Bowl, I believe. Well, that game right there was another one of those 8-8 ones that we needed to win and get in. And you see what they said about Tony Romo right then and there, right? You know, basically, yeah, he screwed the pooch. 3 interceptions against the Redskins in a win and get in game. And here's the other dumbass comment of the day. Mark, we love you, but you can't keep trying to justify it. Dak had a horrible year. It might be early to tell, but is he a one-hit wonder? Similar to Kaepernick, Sanchez, Tebow? At least Cap made it to the Super Bowl. We respect unbiased opinion. He's an athlete who's not smart enough to read defenses. Let me go to NFL Network back from 2012, and then we'll finish up this video after that.
An underachieving team or just an average team?
I think injuries have a lot to do with it. I mean, if you go back to the opener where they beat the Giants in MetLife Stadium, that was an impressive win. And you looked at them and said, this is going to be the NFC East champion. But when you go down with the different injuries they had, Sean Lee missed 10 games, Phil Costa 13, Ratliff 10 games, Murray missed 6 games, Spencer missed 2 games. That's a lot of injuries. Plus you had guys playing hurt. So to me, they probably ended up where they ought to be as a 500 team. But if everybody was healthy, this is a better team. Remember, they lost in the last minute or the last quarter of the last game of the year.
We also saw the Redskins decimated by some injuries on the defensive side, but they find a way. The good teams find a way to still win, to insert other players and make plays. I think the biggest question for the Cowboys and the Cowboy fans is, with all this talent on your roster, with a so-called really good, I won't call him an elite, but a really good quarterback, why is this a subpar team? I mean, 2 years at 8-8, some of the decision-making, some of the play calls, some of the things that happen within this team, they should be a lot further along. Tony Romo is not a young quarterback. He's been in this league for a while. Some of the decisions that he makes, some of the things that happen in crucial situations with this team, I just don't think a lot of people can digest that. And Jerry Jones simply don't really have an answer. I mean, you keep switching coaches, it changes the dynamic of the team. They're talented. It's not a question of can they go out and play well, because we've seen that. We just don't see it consistently.
If they can play well at the right time late in the season.
I think there's two things that hit me. Romo, okay, here's what Tony Romo is. Last night, the fourth quarter interception. That's Tony Romo. If you pressure Tony Romo, you're not sure what's going to happen from both sides. He'll turn around and make some Joe Montana type plays, and then he'll throw some interceptions. So you have that with Tony Romo. That's never going to change. I think defensively, they did a much better job last night than they did the first time around defending the pass. So since that first Redskin loss, they became more conservative in the secondary. Now they've gone 2 games and they still haven't stopped the option yet.
Right.
They absolutely have not stopped the option. Okay, so that part has got to be adjusted there.
Coaching change needed, you think?
No, I think you keep. I think Jason. But I think there's a couple of things there. And again, all we see from television is what television shows us.
Sure.
I've never seen any team have more discussions between the quarterback and the receiver about route adjustments than either that's great television by every single network, or they have too many of that.
Right.
That's got to be changed. The other thing, towards the end of the game, they weren't, to me, as smooth as should have been in a hurry-up offense.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? Feel like deja vu here? Because y'all people who were out there saying that Tony Romo would have taken us to a Super Bowl, that Tony Romo is God, are having revisionist history. Don't get it twisted that I'm trying to ruin Tony Romo. I'm trying to get you guys to understand that football players have good and bad years. In fact, when you think about a Hall of Famer like Steve Young, the reason why Charles Haley became a Dallas Cowboy was because he went after Steve Young, because Steve Young was screwing up one year. And Charles Haley didn't like the fact that he was losing games for them. It happens. Quarterbacks, except for Tom Brady, who sold his soul to the devil, and you hear about the molten lava that's building up under New England, because I believe it's the devil working, getting ready to take his. But quarterbacks have good years and bad years. And believe me, Tony Romo had his share of bad ones to go on with the good ones. It's part of the process. And part of that process is also what's going on around him. Now, I keep trying to tell you guys that history repeats itself, but let me read you an article from Gil Brandt. Tony Romo and the Dallas Cowboys should part ways after latest loss. The Dallas Cowboys and the quarterback Tony Romo, the Dallas Cowboys needed Tony Romo to come up big, and it's went big. Don't have my glasses on. The Dallas Cowboys needed quarterback Tony Romo to come up big against the Washington Redskins on Sunday night. Instead, he threw 3 interceptions, including a critical 4th-quarter pick that largely contributed to the Cowboys' season-ending loss. After this latest down moment in Romo's inconsistent career, I think it's time for the Cowboys to move on. Yes, it is time for the Cowboys to cut ties with Tony Romo. Romo, one of those guys who seems to do really well when it doesn't count, but when it counts, he doesn't get the job done. It's not because he's not smart. It's not because he's not athletic. It's not because he doesn't have ability. It's just that he doesn't have it. First, I don't think he was sharp, throwing the ball behind people and so forth. On that big 4th-quarter interception, he looked fooled. Rob Jackson made a great play for the Redskins, but Romo just was fooled. He seems like he was on edge all night after his first interception on a ball intended for Kevin Ogletree. The televisions captured a contentious back and forth between quarterback and receiver that would seem to indicate that Romo was pressing, that he almost didn't want to admit the interception was his fault, even though he did throw a poor ball. So guys, here we are in the same situation, exactly the same. The only thing that's different is the players are different. So all of you guys out there saying that Dak Prescott, he sucks, he's a bum, he can't read offenses, he's an idiot, he's got nothing. You got to understand that quarterbacks do have bad seasons. Quarterbacks have guys that are dropping balls. Quarterbacks do make mistakes as well. The fact that you guys are ready to take a guy who right now has 21 victories in 2 seasons, alas, if we get one more, it will be 22. I can't say that Tony Romo in his career ever had more than 22 victories in 2 seasons as a veteran who sat on the bench for 4 years before he sniffed the football field. So you can call me a Dak lover. You can call me an apologist for Dak. You can call me whatever you want about Dak Prescott. I don't care. It's fine with me. If you do not like what I say about Dak Prescott and around the problems and things that are around here about Jason Garrett, that's fine. We are Americans. Well, we have fans all across the world here that are watching, excuse me. But we have the right to freedom of speech. And if I want to call it the way I want to call it, I'm going to call it that way. If you don't like it, you have freedom of not listening to my speech. So feel free to move on. But I'm not ready to put everything on this season on Dak Prescott. I'm not ready to be like you turn-faced guys who before wanted Romo out, now want him back, want Dak out. I'm going to believe in my players. So as always, friends, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Because without you guys...